I'm working on a set of new collaging on felt.
Ooh,
so felt is the base, and then I'm stitching, of course, like cow skins, some imagery from cow skins, some almost silhouettes, wool, and painting. So it's a sort of weird collages.
That's so exciting. I think the last. When was your last show? Have you had one recently?
I closed a show recently in December in Mexico.
Gorgeous. Oh, yeah. Good. Actually, this is interesting. I'd love to talk about this. People have tried to assign a sort of Latin American and sometimes a sort of Slavic like iconography or like I guess like vibe to your work, but I think it sort of goes beyond that, right? It's not. You don't take specific inspiration from a culture or a place.
And it's so interesting because when I have people coming in the studio, like generally like people replying to a show in a gallery context, some people they see it really like their own country, or like they reply in very different ways. But I think because there is a sort of again, like this kind of symbology, like kind of universally speaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that can be the link.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of goes back to this idea of iconography is what all religions and all like religious symbols is trying to like translate the divine into the mundane, like trying to understand why there are things that we can't understand. So yeah, I like this idea of like universality. Are there any other artists that you feel like managed to do that?
Well, I love, in this sense, I think Cecilia Vicuña.
The textile, is that her?
Yes, and the way she's working with between textile and language, like she's working with these quipus, which they were ancient Andean sort of kind of language, not to just like counting things or like just to communicate things. And I don't know, the way she's working between like this language and the materiality of it, I love it. And like just the way in which language is made matter.
Yes.
I'm obsessed.
No, I love it. Were there any of her works at the Unravel show?
Yes.
And there were, right?
Yes,
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I saw it. So good. Oh, I really liked that show. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was good.
Of course, amazing.
It was great. Oh. Are there any other art movements that really inspire you that you think are like very powerful?
I mean, for sure, related to textile, the Arpilleristas movement in Chile, during the 70s until the 90s, when there was the dictatorship of Pinochet, basically these women, they were weaving these kind of arpilleras, this kind of textile. And it was very interesting because they were inserting heirs or clothes from these desaparecidos, so their family member that went missing during the regime. But not only this, they were really kind of denouncing what was happening in Chile. And actually they were, let's say, the only one that were able to literally protest and spread outside Chile what was happening there. So that's how, actually, after people collecting this arpillera, they were starting trying to understand. They understand what was happening there. And I'm really fascinated about this because it shows how textile can really scream. Like it can really represent a sort of very powerful idea against the power structures.
Absolutely, going back to the idea of hierarchies, definitely. And it's I think work like that especially is really interesting because, like you say, it's kind of one of the only ways that people can sometimes express themselves, especially in authoritarian dictatorships. I think that work in particular kind of raises also the question of textile as a craft. Because obviously we've spoken about the Unravel show, and one of the big things that it was talking about is at what point does something change from being craft to being art? I wonder if you have any opinions on that.
Of course, like historically craft, I mean, textile is seen as craft, so like kind of a secondary
that's the
art.
thing, right?
And that's why it's interesting. That's why it's interesting, because there are, what is this like hierarchies on art, like what is the like first, like that is not really different. That's why it's such a fertile medium to work with.
Absolutely.